Hello, Patriots, and welcome to the Yavapai County Republican Committee first ever webinar. My name is Donna Tansey, Chair of the Yavapai GOP. We thank you tonight for joining us to view live our 5 LD1 candidates, along with 15 Board of Supervisor candidates representing all 5 districts. Please join me right now and bow your heads in prayer. Holy Father, thank you for creating each of us with unique gifts and for gifting some with leadership abilities to help guide our country. For everyone running for office, whether they win or lose, refresh their spirits and encourage them. Give them the strength to make good decisions both in and out of the public eye. Help them readily give grace and receive it. Protect their families from sickness, bitterness, and discouragement. May every reader be encouraged by the truth that your love is always stronger than hate. Help us to answer your call, to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with you. We ask this in your name. Amen. And right now, I'm going to ask my husband, John Tansey. He's going to lead us in the pledge.
Please join us in the
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, John. Great. So far, so good. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our moderator, Sanford Cohen, founder of Arizona's hometown radio group, celebrating 35 years here in Yavapai County. Their news talk station is KQNA, 1130 AM and 99.9 in Prescott, 95.5 FM in Prescott Valley and Cottonwood. They are our co-sponsor for tonight's Candidates Forum. Sanford has moderated many forums and is active throughout the county as well as the state of Arizona to make us a better community. Please welcome Sanford Cohen.
Well, thank you, Donna. And I'm going to briefly take a moment and describe the format for tonight's forum. The candidates will be interviewed in the following group order. We're going to have all of the LD1 candidates appearing together, and then that'll be followed by the 3 Board of Supervisors District 1 candidates. That in turn will be followed by the 6 Board of Supervisors District 2 candidates. And then we're going to combine Districts 3 and 4 for a total of 3 candidates. And we'll finish up with Board of Supervisors District 5 and 3 candidates there. Now, each candidate will be given an opportunity to address the following 5 items. Each one will be allowed to make a 2-minute opening statement, and then there'll be a first question to each candidate in turn. There'll be the same question to each candidate. That'll be followed then by a question number 2 to each candidate for the same office, same question to each candidate. And then question 3 will be a unique question for each candidate that they will get to answer. You'll have 1 minute to formulate your answers to the questions, but you'll have 2 minutes for the opening statement and 1 minute for the closing statement. There is a timer that will be visible on your computer screen that you can monitor your response time, and we will also provide an audio alert when time is up. So if a candidate continues to speak after time has expired, your microphone will be muted. And there will be a straw poll after all candidates complete their closing statement. So with that, we want to go ahead and give me 1 second. We're going to start with LD1. So if we could have the candidates for LD1 appear on screen.
Where are the candidates?
We're looking for the LD1 candidates to be displayed on the screen.
I think they're all there.
They're not on my screen.
Oh.
Yeah, they're all there.
Well, let's try gallery view. Okay. I was on the speaker view.
There you go.
All right. And so we are going to get an opening statement from each of our LD1 candidates. We did a drawing at random, put all the names in a straw hat and pick them out one at a time. And so that's determining the order. And so the first candidate giving us an opening statement is Stephen Sensmeyer.
Thank you for having us tonight to the Yavapai GOP. Thank you to Sanford for agreeing to moderate this event. I know it's got to be an interesting challenge tonight. My name is Stephen Sensmeyer. I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative, and I'm a candidate for the State House of Representatives in Legislative District 1. I'm a lifelong conservative. Some of you have heard me tell this story about 100 times by now, but I'm probably the only 3-year-old that ever could have told you that Newt Gingrich was the Speaker of the House. And I also thought Hillary Clinton was a witch, just not the green kind like in The Wizard of Oz. So I've been a conservative my whole life. I'm actually a 4th-generation Republican that's been involved in politics. My great-grandfather was a Republican county councilman in southern Indiana. My grandparents helped run the Stark County, Ohio Republican Club, and my father was chairman of the county GOP and active in the Purdue College Republicans. I grew up here. I'm a graduate of Prescott High School and a graduate of Embry-Riddle. While I was getting my degree in global security and intelligence studies, I served as the president of the College Republicans in Embry-Riddle and also served as the state chairman of the Arizona Federation of College Republicans. So not only as it isn't my blood, I've been active with it for about 12 years now in local and statewide politics, working for candidates for school board, city council, mayor, up to working on campaigns for Bradley Beauchamp for Congress, Paul Gosar for Congress, Debbie Lesko, and Martha McSally, as well as the AZ GOP. So I bring a unique blend of youth and experience to this particular job, this particular position that I think is desperately needed at the state legislature. As we get into the rest of the evening, you'll hear more about my positions on different issues. And if you ever have any questions for me about issues that aren't covered tonight, you can find me at stevensensmeyer.com.
All right, so our next LD1 opening statement will be from Ed Cocciolo, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Not at all. You pronounced it. That's right. That's just the way to say it.
Nice.
Thank you for having me here. I want to say that to begin with. I have to make an apology right off the get-go. I have to apologize to my followers, and my supporters, my staff. We were going to schedule a cookout. We called it the Freedom Cookout Rally. But due to the impact of the coronavirus, we're going to call it off. I'm more concerned about the health and the welfare of these people than I am about the cookout. So I do apologize to you folks. I'm sorry. I'll tell you something about myself. I want to seek the seat in the Arizona House of Representatives. I can tell you I want to strengthen this party. I think it's a good idea. I'm a life member of the NRA. I've been a life member for 54 years. I'm against abortion. I'm totally against it. What I'd like to see is this county in this state, which has so much to offer our people here. I'd like to see the people get more bang for the buck. I want to see a better, more prosperous state. Right now, we're all dealing with the impact of this silent killer. And we're doing what we have to do. We're going to come out of this. This isn't the first time America has been faced with something like this. December the 7th, 1941, our whole fleet was laying at the bottom of Pearl Harbor. We, the American people, will overcome this. Take my word for it. I want to serve the people of Arizona because to me, it's an honor and a privilege to serve the people of Arizona. I'm not looking for a pay raise. I'm not looking for anything special because I'm nothing special. I'm just a guy. I'm no different than your brother, your neighbor, your uncle, the guy next door. But there's a lot of things out there I see that I don't like, and it has to do with the progressive liberal agenda. I feel that they're responsible for the majority of our problems in our country today. I think the progressive liberal agenda is hurting America worse than we ever had anything hurt us before in the past.
Time.
Am I, no?
Time. Time's up, Ed. This is Donna. Sanford,
There we
some
go.
folks are having trouble hearing you, so I just wanted you to know that we're getting that.
Okay. Well,
And also, LD1 means Legislative District 1. That's a question that's coming in.
okay. All right. Well, next on the speakers list is Judy Burgess.
Good evening, and thank you for sponsoring this forum tonight. I am Judy Burgess, and I am a candidate for the Arizona House of Representatives right here in District 1. As a legislator, my job is to stand in the gap between we the people and an ever-expanding government that seeks to constantly raise your taxes and impose an increasing bureaucratic burden on individuals and business. As a prior legislator, I realize that you're interviewing me for a job that includes safeguarding your families, their future, their homes, and their businesses. My pledge to you is that I will never quit fighting for the sovereignty and the sovereignty of this state, your right to be protected from terrorism, our children's future to leave Arizona a better place. And that's why our forefathers bled and died. And that's why our young men and women are fighting around the globe. I will never abandon them. I am a Christian. Life begins at conception. I am pro-family, a family that prays together, stays together. I am also a First Amendment person, a Second Amendment person, and all down the line, a constitutionalist. I see I still have a lot of time left, but I'm going to forego. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Judy. Let's go ahead and reset the timer. And our next opening statement will be from Selena Bliss.
Yeah, thank you to the Yavapai County Republican Party for this opportunity. And I already see in the chat box, there's some questions here about where is LD1? Legislative District 1 is over 8,000 square miles. It goes most of Yavapai County, just shave off the Verde so you guys can take a break. But it does have the northern part of Maricopa County. So we cover quite a large district and communities with various needs. And I can tell you this, Arizona needs solid conservative leadership and those prepared to serve. And that's why I'm stepping up to run for the Arizona State House of Representatives. My name is Selena Bliss, and I'm running out of the desire to have Arizona reach its full potential. I've been a resident of this district since 1971. So that gives me a deep respect for our rich history. And I'm dedicated as such to protect and strengthen this district and the great state of Arizona. I've been a nurse for 36 years, of which those last 25, I've been a teacher in nursing at our local community college. So it comes natural to me that I'm a candidate that cares. I come from a family of public servants. In essence, I was called to serve, and I have a passion to give back to the community in which I was raised, where I raised my family, and where someday I will retire. Now, some people run for power and influence and to make a name for themselves, but I'm determined to run to get work done and to leave this office better than I found it. I'm a patriot. I believe in hard work and family values, and with a lot of effort, we can make some great things happen in Arizona. Now, I know you're on your computer, obviously, so feel free to bring up my website while we're talking. You'll see my priorities. My website is selinabliss.com. Selina spelled S-E-L-I-N-A, selinabliss.com. You'll see my priorities are economics, healthcare, and education. But first and foremost is the foundation to protect and defend our Constitution, our Republican values and principles.
That is, our time is up. Thank you, Selina.
Thank you.
And our final opening statement will be Quang Nguyen.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, YavGOP GOP and Mr. Cohen for spending your time with us this evening. My name is Quang Nguyen, and I'm your conservative Republican choice for the State House. As a legal alien to this country, I know what it's like to live without freedom, and I also am passionate about defending liberty, and this is the reason why I became a Republican. Like President Trump, I believe in a strong America, and I like to see putting our country first. I have a daughter at the U.S. Naval Academy. I am a believer of secure borders, a real border wall, and an end to illegal immigration and no amnesty. I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I actually teach young people marksmanship and how our rights come with responsibility. You can always count on me to oppose the unconstitutional red flag laws that infringe on our rights. I am a pro-life. I'm a Christian, pro-school choice, pro-taxpayer. I'll cut government waste, and I'll pursue policy that will free our economy and create jobs. I am also honored to be endorsed by Noel Campbell and Colonel Harry Ober, two men who actually fought for my freedoms. This country has given me so much. I want to keep giving back. I am conservative to the core, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We're now going to go on to our first question for each of our LD1 candidates. And the first question will go to Ed Cocciola, and it'll be the same question to each candidate. Part of being a Republican means we are for lowering taxes and reducing the size of government. What taxes will you reduce, and how will you shrink government?
Taxes, huh? Okay, here's how it is. Taxes, high taxes equal poverty. Lower taxes equal prosperity. More money in people's pocket. People spend money. It generates revenue in the state. I like to see a cut on a lot of these taxes that I feel are nothing but a lot of waste. One of the things I'm dead set against is this 18-cent a gallon tax on gasoline. People can't afford it. We came out of Obama for 8 years. People are starting to see the light of the day. The great man in the Oval Office, Donald Trump, he gave us prosperity. And then all of a sudden, this evil killer came amongst us. But now is not the time to put more taxes and more of a burden on the back of the people. That's my
feedback. Thank you very much. Our next person will be Judy Burgess. Same question. Part of being Republican means we are for lowering taxes and reducing the size of government. What taxes will you reduce, and how will you shrink government?
Well, number one, when you look at our overall sales, our taxes, we rate 20th lowest in the nation, which is really absolutely astounding considering what's happening. The one tax that I would look to lowering would be our sales tax. We rank 40th in the nation, highest sales tax. And that compares right up with New York and some of the other probably California as well. The property tax, I would, the personal property tax on business, that needs to be done away with. Number one, it serves very little purpose. And it really is a pain to try to track all of your personal property. And as far as, I think one of the things that we could do to improve our economy, we need to look at meeting down the legislature with a special session and coming up with a package.
All right, thank you. Once again, I just want to remind you that it's 1 minute to answer each question. See, next is Selena Bliss. And again, part of being a Republican means we are for lowering taxes and reducing the size of government. So what taxes will you reduce and how will you shrink government?
Thank you for that question. It's important to look at the general fund and where the majority of our taxes come from. That would include income tax, sales tax, and property tax. And I feel a cut in all three gives equal opportunity, if you will. Now, there were some bills in the House and the Senate side to reduce the property tax for veterans. Unfortunately, with COVID-19, we ran out of an opportunity to pass those. So I'd like to bring those back and up front. Also, there were tax waivers for property taxes for low-income individuals. And I realize our Board of Supervisors can speak more to that, but the state certainly could back that up. They say the best government is that governs the least. So I believe part of shrinking the government is supporting and encouraging non-governmental organizations to step up and serve. We have a strong structure when it comes to churches and volunteer groups that could very well do the job that government attempts to do. And as far as taxes, they need to be as low as possible. People need to vote with their dollars. So dollars in the pocket. Thank you.
All right, and same question, Kwang Wen. Part of being a Republican means we are for lowering taxes and reducing the size of government. So what taxes would you reduce and how would you shrink government?
You know, as a Republican, I believe in the smallest government that you can get. And obviously keeping taxes and policies that are harmful to business law will advance the business cause here and bring our economy out of this unfortunate COVID-19 situation. Yeah, let's keep the taxes low across the board. But more importantly, I think we need to cut spending. And my way of thinking is, you know, cut government spending 10% across the board. Maybe leave out fire and law enforcement. But yes, if you look back on February 11th, I mean, we basically put nearly 3,000 pieces of properties on auction at the courthouse. And if we continue to keep the tax rate going up like that, we're gonna find more properties out there. And I'm totally against it. I'm kind of disappointed with the property tax being raised. And,
all right, thank you very much. And finally, Steve Sensemeyer, part of being a Republican means we are for lowering taxes and reducing the size of government. So what taxes would you reduce and how would you shrink government?
Well, a minute's not a lot of time to give details, so I'll try and get as broad as I can. I want to see taxes go down across the board, but the one that I see the highest impact of on a regular basis is our incredibly high sales tax in the state that disproportionately affects lower income folks and hurts local businesses because those are the folks that shop local more than just about anybody else. So we need to make sure that we have a tax environment that encourages people to spend their money locally as much as possible. As far as cutting the size of government, I think one of the first things we need to do is look for redundant agencies. We've done this in the past. We've combined departments and made sure that we've utilized our staff at the state level as best we can. I think we need to continue that work because that's, to me, the easy first step. And then we can start looking at trimming budgets and making these departments run leaner.
All right, thank you very much. Now we have question number 2, which again will be posed to each candidate. And once again, changing the order slightly, we're going to start with Judy Burgess. And Judy, question 2 says, what legislation would you introduce or support to deal with public school teachers who routinely inject their ultra-left political views in the classroom while at the same time ignoring conservative principles?
You know, this has been a problem throughout the time that I was in the legislature. And we hear more and more about what happens in the classroom as teachers inject their own ideas of socialism into the classroom. It's a little frustrating. I've seen some of the tests that the kids have taken. Personally, I think it's time to hold teachers accountable. Part of the problem with teachers are, and the reason they're doing it is because they feel like they're not supported by administration. So number one, I think maybe we need to have people who keep a little bit closer eye on them. And it would be a little bit better if we gave them bonuses for the teachers who were staying away from political ideas. It's really a problem in the school system. And one of the things we find is the product of what our children are today. When they come out of there, they've been socialized. And it's a problem that we're facing right now with the kids that's out on the streets. So we really do. We really, really do. We need to keep.
All right, thank you. And the same question next is Selena Bliss. And Selena, what legislation would you introduce or support to deal with public school teachers who routinely inject their ultra-left political views in the classroom while at the same time ignoring conservative principles?
Yeah, no, the victims are innocent children who have the developing minds. So I have an advantage in the area of education because I've been an educator for 25 years. And I was taught very early on, you know you're doing a good job if you can present an issue and no one at the end of the day knows your bias. In other words, you can give an issue without reflecting bias. Now, not everybody is capable of it, and that's why we have this question. So I see three things. We need to do evaluations on a regular basis, both self-evaluations of our educators, as well as peer-to-peer, and then of course, administrators. Oftentimes schools are graded. I'd like to see us grade administrators because they set the tone, they're the leadership, they're ultimately responsible. So I'd like to see them take some ownership as well. And then tying merit pay, I know that can be an ugly issue, but that's an incentivizer to good evaluation, a proper evaluation, and unbiased evaluation. So that's an excellent question, something we need to address. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, Kwang Wen. And what legislation would you introduce or support to deal with public school teachers who routinely inject their ultra-left political views in the classroom while at the same time ignoring conservative principles?
You know, this is where school choice comes in, right? We got to have school choice. We got to create a competitive environment, and the school choices should belong to the parents. And I think that's going to alleviate some of the indoctrination there. I want to have that school choice. I want to have the ability to do that. And I want to make sure that that continues to be with the parents. The other thing that I joke around a lot is, you know, if you want to stop the indoctrination, get Republicans back to teach. I think if we can find a way to do that, that'd be great. School choice, it is so important. I'm so happy to have that opportunity. And what's more important to me is, rather than demonizing charter school or private school, I think what we need to do is we need to go out and find out what makes parents take their kids out of public school and put them in charter school or private school. What is it?
Time.
I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with my microphone. So let's see. So finish. Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. Let's see. Next is Steve Sensemeyer. Same question. What legislation would you introduce or support to deal with public school teachers who routinely inject their ultra-left political views in the classroom while at the same time ignoring conservative principles?
See, this is a hard one to legislate about because there are students in the classroom, there's a teacher in the classroom, and you can't monitor everything that's said. On top of that, you have some First Amendment issues with people have the right to their own opinions, regardless of how dumb they may be. So I don't know what you can actually do as a legislator that would actually be effective. I'm 100% with Quan. I think the solution is school choice, particularly in this case, in a lot of situations, open enrollment, move to a school or a different district, even another public district school that is not engaging in those behaviors. Move to a charter school or a private school if you're able, where those behaviors aren't encouraged. Vote with your dollars, vote with your feet, and take it to the socialist, communist teachers that way, because I just don't see an effective way to legislate that without massive amounts of oversight that just doesn't seem feasible to me.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to use the microphone on my computer, so I don't know if that improves the situation or not. Yes? No?
Seems better, yeah.
Better? Okay. And then finally, Ed Cochiola, same question. What legislation would you introduce or support to deal with public school teachers who routinely inject their ultra-left political views in the classroom while at the same time ignoring conservative principles?
Well, I think first of all, Steve and Quang, you pretty much hit it. But I think it's wrong for these teachers to push their own agenda. That's a big mistake. My only answer is this: school choice. One more thing though, tax credits for good performing schools. That's the answer.
That's a good one.
All right. And then the final round of questions for our LD1 candidates. Each question is specific to a particular candidate. So we're going to start with Selena Bliss. You'll get the first question just for you. And it is, what is your opinion about a single payer healthcare system?
That's an easy one. It's a bad idea, folks. It'll shut down our healthcare choices. Healthcare is something I see on both sides as a consumer and a receiver of healthcare. Choice is very important. Competition's important. I've seen where states mandate or limit choices in healthcare payer systems. It's a bad idea. Don't let it happen. I could fill the time with something else, but that one was actually a fairly straightforward one. As an expert, though, in healthcare and education, I do want to take my time and talent and serve on the Health and Human Services Committee. I see a lot of the work they're doing with bills. Insurance is one of those, protecting our rights, protecting our choices. This will be important as we go into a session next year with limited funding, people negotiating and arguing for funding. So it's going to take some great negotiating and standing on our values and principles and standing firm. Thank you.
All right, and now we have the individual question for Quang Nguyen.
Yes, sir.
And we have lots of immigrants, both legal and illegal. How do you get them to embrace our American exceptionalism?
You know, this is kind of a fun question for me. I always said there are two types of immigrants. Ones that come over for financial gains, and the other one came over for freedom. And so I just happen to be, and I'm not judging anybody, I'm just happen to be the guy that's looking for freedom. I had a conversation with a gentleman from India through Adobe support. Unfortunately, it was very difficult to understand, but he asked me, you know, what it's like to be in America. I said, there isn't anything about America that you can see negative from. I mean, I love this country. I live in a place where they're war-torn, absolutely zero freedom. And I made it here because I believe in the US Constitution. And from there, you can branch out. Your life will be success if you believe in the operating manual of this nation. But if you come over here looking for a way to make quick money, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to assimilate because.
All right, thank you. Next, Steve Sensmeyer, what life experiences have you had that prepare you to represent Yavapai County LD1 in the Arizona House?
That's a great question, and it's one I get a lot. As I alluded to in my opening statement, I've been involved in local politics here for 12 years. I've worked on issues from the school board level to the city level to the statewide level. I've worked for senators, I've worked for congressmen, I've worked for mayors and city councilmen. I have a firm and deep grasp on the issues just from that alone. On top of that, I have a deep background in international policy and international business policy through my degree at Embry-Riddle and my minor in global business and international relations. I think I provide a pretty unique perspective on a lot of those issues, having had that experience. The other thing I've done is been involved in statewide politics through the College Republicans, which has given me access to tremendous resources and tremendous people that I'd love to talk more about, but I'm out of time.
Ed Cocciolo, we have a question for you. What is your opinion about legalizing and commercialization of recreational marijuana?
Well, I don't know, you know. I can't say I'm 100% against it. I can't say I'm 100% for it, but that doesn't tell you anything, does it? I think if somebody is terminally ill, needs marijuana, and it does help, and the studies show it does, the jury is in on it now. A few years back, it wasn't. It does have therapeutical value. We know that now. So by all means, if you're terminally ill, what difference does it make? I don't know. I have concerns about people driving automobiles that are high on it, and also concerns about just life in general, about related to it. I'm not totally against it, but just like anything else, it has to be done in a perspective that it's beneficial to everybody involved. If it's going to cause a lot of problems, we don't want it. If it's going to do good, we do want it.
All right, thank you very much. And we have lost our connection with Judy Burgess, so we were hoping that maybe by putting her last, that we would have a chance to have her rejoin the webinar in time to answer her individual question. But unfortunately, it looks like we've lost her connection. So with that, I want to thank all of the candidates for LD1. We're going to have closing remarks now. Each one of you will get 1 minute to make a closing statement. And we're going to start with Quang Nguyen.
Thank you. Thank you again for hosting and allow me to have the opportunity to express myself. You know, we are the tipping point for Arizona, and we do need the most conservative candidate to the House. And I believe I am that voice. You know, I lived communism. I survived the brutal war. I am a naturalized American, meaning I went through the entire immigration process. You know, I built the company. I worked in the defense industry, F-18, F-20 Tiger Shark, MX missile for our military. I taught at a university. I am bringing years of leadership with me down to the House if I'm fortunate to get that position. And I am looking for your vote. And once again, I am conservative to the core. Thank you.
Thank you. And rather than continuing the closing statements, now that we have Judy Burgess back on, Judy, you had your own individual question, which you did not get a chance to address. So I'm going to go ahead and put that question to you now. And the question is, looking at the current legislative session, where do you differ with the Republican legislators on bills that were passed, and why?
Well, actually, that's kind of tough for me because I haven't kept on top of it. But I know that there was a lot of red flag bills going on down at the Capitol that was absolutely went into Eddie Farnsworth's committee, and they were held there because that was the thing to do with them. There were a lot of bills that were held up. And the reason they were held up is because of the time constraints down at the legislature. Every year at the last, we get a big push, put bills through it. And a lot of good bills may be laying on the table. And then there are a lot of bad bills that get left down there. And the bills that I would have supported was the ones who, well, let me put it this way, cut because we had to cut. And what's happening with the budget. It's tough when you go down there, the decisions that you have to make. If you're chairman, you're the ones that makes the decisions.
All right, well, thank you, and I'm glad we were able to get you back on to get your own question. We're going to continue now with the closing statements, 1 minute each. And Steve Sensmeyer, you're up next.
We already did.
You already gave one.
Not a closing.
Oh, all right.
Go ahead.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. I'm running because that's my governing philosophy. It's our job to ensure life, liberty, and the ability to pursue your own happiness, and to secure those three things. I think that means we need to be pro-business, pro-school choice, and pro-infrastructure that allows business to thrive. If you want, check out my website, stevensensmeyer.com. It has more details on all of those positions, as well as my stance being very pro-Second Amendment, very pro-life. I attended the National March for Life in Washington this January, as a matter of fact. If you ever have any questions, I'm available by my phone number, which is on my website, my Twitter account, my Facebook account. Reach out and ask.
All right, thank you. And closing statement, 1 minute. Ed Cocciola is next.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to first say I'm endorsed by Trent Franks and Gary Giordano. They're great conservative Republicans. I'm a hardcore conservative Republican. But to me, small business and the people, the will of the people, that matters more than anything else. I want to hear what the people tell me. When elected, you call me. I talk to you. You don't talk to a machine. You don't talk to a double talking secretary. You don't get put on hold for 4 months. I'll call you back that day because I want to know. I can't do that job out there unless I know. To me, it's an honor and a privilege to serve the people of Arizona. That's what it's about, the people. A government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that is me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
All right, thank you, Ed. Next, for 1 minute closing statement, Judy Burgess.
Thank you, Sanford. I'm Judy Burgess. I'm running for this seat because I have experience. They want me back down to work on water issues. I think it's high time that Yavapai County and other counties in the state of Arizona quit taking a back seat to Maricopa County. We have so many issues that we need to deal with. I am most absolutely school choice. As a matter of fact, with my term in the legislature, we became the #4 state in the nation for school choice, for parental choice to keep their children out of failing schools, and that's so important. The other thing was that I was a sponsor of the Elderly Assistance Bill, which would have lowered low-income senior citizens' tax rate down to a class 6. That's very important. It would have almost reduced their tax bill into half. When you live on a fixed income, it's so important that you have alternatives. You know, I'm ever mindful that, darn. darn.
And our last closing statement is goes to Selena Bliss.
Yeah, so while my priorities are many, and that includes economic opportunity, quality healthcare, and excellence in education, that means nothing without protecting and defending our Constitution and honoring our Republican values and principles. I believe in strong borders and laws that protect our citizens. I believe we need to protect the home front first, and that's why in my campaign materials, you'll see my tagline is "A strong country starts at home." You voters have a tough choice to make. You have 2 positions to fill. You will be deciding the team. As you can see tonight, or whenever you're viewing this, we're all very unique. Now, I have an advantage in this group because I could work with any one of these fine individuals. I'm accustomed to working in teams and leading teams. You can see I'm passionate and committed. And as a nurse and educator, I'm accustomed to making a life in the difference of others. I'm ready to step up and serve and make great things happen in Arizona. So don't forget this fall, August 4th, to vote for Selena Bliss, put Bliss in the house.
Very good.
All right, well, we want to, first of all, thank all of our LD1 candidates for bearing with us on this very first webinar. And we wish all of you best of luck and success in the upcoming campaign. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the videos of the LD1 and we'll replace them instead with the Board of Supervisors of First District, and we'll continue the webinar just as soon as everyone is in place.
And also, Sanford, we're going to launch a poll for 1 minute for these last candidates.
I'm sorry, Jerry, say that again.
We're going to launch a poll for these last 5 candidates so people can vote for them.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. We're doing a straw poll, so where will they be able to access? Just
It'll
like
be
that.
It'll be just like that, yeah. So people can.
Okay. So which 2 LD1 candidates would you most likely vote for based on today's Q&A? Feel free to pick 2, and we're going to take a minute to do the poll, and then we'll start Board of Supervisors District 1. By the way, I wanted to also mention that both the panelists and the hosts are not eligible to vote on the straw poll. So now we'd like to get the Board of Supervisors District 1 candidates on screen, and we'll go ahead and start the questioning as soon as everybody's in place.
Really markets herself good. You can't get rid of that. She markets herself really good.
I think we need Dave McNabb to turn on his video. Let me try to get him one more time here. There he goes. Hey, Dave.
All right. And so once again, we're going to start with a 2-minute opening statement. And again, we put the names in a hat and drew them at random. So the first opening statement goes to Dave McNabb, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay, hi there, David McNabb. I am 4th generation Arizonan, and been living in Prescott for the last 18 years with my family. I have 3 children, and I'm married to a lovely Scottish lass, and I have Scottish heritage as well. I have a BA in history and in biblical studies from Pepperdine University and a teaching degree. I taught history and did substitute teaching in public schools for 28 years. And now I sell advertising for Prescott Saver coupon book. The platform I'm running on includes deregulation. I think there is a lot of unnecessary regulations that government puts on people that we really need to get rid of. And so I'm going to be looking at that if I'm elected. Eliminating wasteful spending, jail reform, and improving the county streets, the dirt roads that are sometimes almost impassable when it gets rainy and wet. I don't have any campaign signs, so I'm not involved in the cluttering our streets with the signs and creating more of an eyesore than what already exists there with these signs. I'm a committed Christian and attend the Heights and Pleasant Valley Church of Christ. These are the things that I can promise you. I will bring Christian values and concerns to the board, and will pray for godly discernment before every vote. I will be transparent and available. So I will put my phone number out as much as I can. I will take anyone's calls immediately
All
and
right,
be
thank you.
transparent.
Thank you, Dave. Next opening statement for Board of Supervisors, District 1 is Harry Oberg.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to thank YavGOP and also KQNA for this forum. My name is Harry Oberg. I'm running for Yavapai County Board of Supervisors, District 1. I'm a longtime resident of Yavapai County and come from a ranching background. My dad came to Yavapai County in '29 and worked on various ranches here for about 40 years in this county. So I was raised in Prescott, attended Prescott Public Schools, and also graduated from Prescott High School in 1965. In '67, I enlisted in the U.S. Army and spent 2 tours in Vietnam as a helicopter pilot. I eventually served a total of 33 years in the military, retiring as a colonel on active duty and a brigadier general in the Army National Guard. I was recently the mayor of Prescott and have served on the board of a number of civic organizations in the local area. Some of my accomplishments as mayor included initiating the building of a new airport terminal, working on with 29 other mayors to reform PSPRS, the Public Safety Retirement System, and improving the level of care in drug rehab facilities by vastly reducing the number of unlicensed homes from almost 200 to 34 licensed homes. There are many issues in the county. But if elected as your supervisor, I'll restore our county's economic health and vitality, preserve our scarce resources in water, wildlife, open space, and forests, streamline county government services so every tax dollar delivers for you, the taxpayer, improve our traffic and transportation infrastructure in the county, and to preserve and promote our Western heritage, culture, and values. We have a great county with many benefits and a great quality of life. Because of my history here, I will do everything I can to preserve and improve on what we already have. Thank you.
Is Harry's image freezing for the rest of you two, or just for me?
Yeah, so it freezes temporarily, but then it picks right back up, and it sort of speeds through his conversation to catch up. But I think we caught everything he said.
Okay. What you may want to do, if you're on a Wi-Fi connection and you have other things running, you may want to turn those off because that will compromise your bandwidth. All right. Then our final opening statement for Board of Supervisors, District 1 is Sherry Hanna.
Thank you. My name is Sherry Hanna, and I have lived in Prescott since 1963. I went to school here, married John Hanna, raised 3 children, and currently have 11 grandchildren. How blessed am I that they all live here in Prescott. My son and son-in-law are in law enforcement, and my other son is a firefighter. I am running for the District 1 supervisor because of my dedication to this area, its people, and because I want to preserve our precious culture for future generations that live in Yavapai County. I'm a lifelong conservative Republican. I believe in fiscal management and support the Second Amendment. I am a member of the Well-Armed Woman. In January and February, I stood before the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors to advocate for Yavapai County being designated a Second Amendment sanctuary county. Currently, my community service includes the Acker Trust Executive Board, City of Prescott Parks and Recreation Executive Board, Mayor Mangarelli's Commission on Sewer and Water, the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors Industrial Authority Development Board, Western Heritage Foundation Board, Prescott Rodeo Association, Yavapai County GOP Precinct Committeeman, the Republican Women of Prescott, Arizona and Yavapai County Cattle Growers, Cowbell Member, Kiwanis, Yavapai County Farm Bureau, Prescott Chamber of Commerce, and the Prescott Downtown Partnership. Previously, I spearheaded the United States Congressional Downwinders Bill and co-chaired Stand for Prescott Proposition 443. As you can see, I'm deeply committed to serve this community. As your Yavapai County Supervisor, I will support the safety of the men and women in law enforcement and first responders as they work to protect us. I will work to improve infrastructure and support public transportation to help
All right,
relieve
thank
traffic
you very much.
congestion.
And we're now going to move on to our first question, which will be posed to each one of the candidates. And so the first question, first responder would be Harry Oberg. And here is the question that will be offered to all three candidates. How would you go about creating operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this? He's muted.
Yeah, Harry, you have to unmute yourself.
There you go.
First of all, I think we need to ensure that the government is doing only what it's supposed to be doing. One of my concerns is that right now, for instance, with the transport system that they're looking at, the $3.6 million transport system, why are we taking things away from the private sector and trying to bring it into the government? I don't think that's correct. I think when it comes to property tax, we need to take a look at lowering that. Right now, we just had an 18% increase on our primary property tax. That was to cover both PSPRS debt and also to build a new jail and justice system. Right now, I don't think that's what we should be doing. I think this is the wrong time to be spending that kind of money on a jail, particularly when it's going to cost us about $86 million. We just can't afford to do that right now.
All right, our next responder will be Sherry Hanna. And again, the question, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
First of all, that's a good question. I am not for raising taxes, and the only reason that we had to raise the taxes was because of a federal mandate on the Justice Center. Keeping our community clean and safe promotes people coming into our community to support our businesses, which results in improved revenue for our city and our county, which helps provide the services that we need. So as we promote our city through tourism and a clean, safe community, that will help promote and provide better resources and taxes and help us with our community.
All right, and finally, Dave McNabb, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this? You have to unmute. You have to unmute.
Okay. Yes, I think the first thing to do is look for wasteful spending that can be cut, and anything that's duplicated that might be made into one program, and then look at what else needs to be done. And at this point, I haven't looked at the details of the budget, so I don't really have any examples, unfortunately, to give you on that.
All right, we're now on to question number 2, which will again be posed to each of our 3 candidates. And the first response on question number 2 goes to Sherry Hanna. All Arizonans deal with water and land issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Thank you. Water is our most precious resource, and we have to do everything we can to educate people on conservation. And unfortunately, in the county does not set water policy. So the Arizona State Water Resource Department does that. So we continue to can work with our legislatures in protecting property rights, land rights. And so that is the avenue that we have to take. Again, our community is dependent on so much water, and we just look to the legislature to pass policy and initiatives that will help protect the property owner and our land rights.
All right, thank you, Sherry. So our next responder will be Dave McNabb. Dave, all Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents? Make sure you unmute. There you go.
Okay, question was protecting the property rights of those in the county, is that correct?
Protect water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents.
Okay. I'm one who thinks that our area is being overdeveloped, in the process of being overdeveloped. And I don't know at this point what can be done about that, but I'll find out. If anything can be done at the county level to try to at least slow down the rate of the progress that's going on with development, I would be definitely interested in looking into that. And the other part of the question was
protecting water rights.
The water rights, okay. As Sherry said, the county does not have jurisdiction on the water rights, so I don't think that's a relevant question.
All right, thank you very much. And now we have a question for each of you individually, starting with Dave McNabb. Dave,
I haven't answered that one yet.
oh, I'm sorry, Harry. Did I skip you?
You
I
skipped me,
apologize. All right, let's go back then. And question 2 for Harry Oberg. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
First of all, I want to say that both the other candidates are correct. The county really doesn't have a lot of direct policy requirements on water that comes from the state. I think we do have some responsibility, particularly when working with the Prescott AMA and the other municipalities. You know, we do have county land inside the AMA. It's about 485 square miles of Yavapai County. It's only about 6%. But the land that's in there needs to be developed, particularly if it shows associated with the county, making sure that you know, we're working with them and ensuring that we're having a proper conservation along with the other municipalities. The other thing, of course, is overdevelopment. The big thing I'm worried about right now is wildcat developments, and we have to make sure that as people take sections of land and start to subdivide it down, that we don't exceed our water policies.
All right, thank you very much. And so now we have our individual questions, and Dave McNabb, this first question is for you. What is your opinion about allowing ballot harvesting? Should citizens be allowed to register and vote on the day of the election?
No. I think that the process of pre-registering and identifying yourself properly is the right way to go.
All right. Next individual question is for Harry Oberg. Harry, water is one of the most important resources in Arizona, and the Board of Supervisors is responsible for controlling the density and character of land use in the Big Chino Valley. what would you do to assure that AMAs get their overdrafts under control and reach safe yield?
Well, again, one thing about the Big Chino is ADWR, Arizona Department of Water Resources, had a lawsuit, or actually, they were actually had a legal lawsuit with SRP, and basically Prescott won that. So right now, Prescott has a right to take water from the Big Chino. I don't think that they're going to be doing that in the short term because it's going to cost a tremendous amount of money, probably about $150 million or more. So I think the county working with the Prescott AMA is very important. Like I said just a few minutes ago, we need to take a look at conservation. Also, we need to look at utilizing their pellet for plants and things of that nature. But I really think that in the long run, conservation is going to be the most important thing we can do right now.
All right. And finally, for Sherry Hanna, please explain why you would or would not support consolidating all rural fire districts in Yavapai County under the control and supervision of a single county fire chief and the Board of Supervisors to reduce duplicate costs and the taxpayers' burden.
Yes, thank you. And I would support consolidating all of our fire stations because of the fact that you just stated. It gives better control, and the financing, it costs less because everyone is brought into one facility in one place, and we're all under the same regulations, and it's all under one local control. So I would support bringing them all in together so that it would save the taxpayer dollar that way. Thank you.
All right, well, we are now on to our closing remarks. And so the first with the closing remarks would be Sherry Hanna.
Okay, thank you, Sanford. First, I want to thank YavGOP for giving this opportunity to speak to everyone. Yavapai County and District 1 deserve a supervisor who has high energy, visible, accessible, and aware of the needs of both rural and urban areas. My record, experience, and desire to serve shows how deeply I'm committed, and I have been in this community and help the people. As an active community leader, my leadership strengths are having the knowledge and the leadership skills to tackle tough issues while bringing people together to work towards a common goal. My take charge approach to get the job done has led to contributed success to the many civic organizations I belong to. So once again, I want to thank everyone. If you should have any specific questions for me, please feel free to contact me at hannaforsupervisor.com. Thank you.
All right, next 1 minute closing remarks, Dave McNabb.
Oh, okay. All right, I think we got it on now. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to be in this Zoom meeting. I was disappointed that we couldn't meet together at Ruth Street Theater. That would have been really nice. I'm also a big supporter of agriculture in the county. I think we do agriculture is a very big and important part of this county and needs to be supported in every way it can be. I'm concerned with the safeguarding of your property rights, and I will be vigilant about looking after your property rights if they are not violated. And I'm also concerned about government overreach, and I will do everything I can to shrink government and not allow it to get into your life, into the details of your life. That's not what government is meant to do.
All right, thank you, Dave. And closing remarks, 1 minute, Harry Oberg.
I want to thank YavGOP for hosting this forum, and I appreciate the opportunity to introduce myself and offer my experience from my time in the military and as a mayor. and explain what I think is important for our county going forward. I will be your low tax, less debt, and lean government candidate for county supervisor. I am very concerned about the hit to our county. County has taken for the Wuhan virus and the loss of small businesses and jobs, the increase in unemployment, and the increase in county taxes that will be a great burden on restoring our economy to its full health. With numerous competing issues and with uncertain local government revenue, now is not the time to build a new jail and justice center. We need to ensure that critical services are effectively maintained until our economy fully recovers. So I look forward to the opportunity to serve you as your county supervisor for District 1, and I ask for your vote on August 4th. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you to all three of our Board of Supervisors District 1 candidates for participating in tonight's webinar. We're now going to go ahead and mute their videos and get the Board of Supervisors District 2 on screen, and we'll begin that section as soon as everybody's up and running.
And we're just going to run the straw poll again real quick.
And the straw poll. Here it comes up on the screen. Which of the Board of Supervisors District 1 candidates would you likely vote for based upon today's Q&A? And we do ask on the honor system that you vote if you live in District 1. Of course, we know we can't stop everybody, but if you are a District 1 voter, those are the people that we'd like to see have you vote in the straw poll. All right. Board of Supervisors District 2. And Robert Burris never made it onto the screen, I take it.
Correct.
Okay. That'll change the order just a little bit, but.
Hey, Sanford, it's hard to hear you.
Okay. Who said that?
Crazy Tony.
Okay.
Getting a little better.
All right. You also might need to be a little closer to your computer.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can hear the speaker.
That's a good idea, Sanford.
Yeah. Okay. So Board of Supervisors District 2. Again, each one will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. And so the first opening statement, again, names drawn at random. First opening statement goes to James Gregory.
Good evening. My name's James Gregory. I'm running for the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors, District 2. I'm a lifelong Republican and Arizona native. I've resided in the county for the last 37 years in the unincorporated portions of the county. After high school, I spent 5 years in the military, the U.S. Air Force, where I met my wife, Stacy. We have We've been married for 26 years. We have 2 kids, Brianna and Tyler. Brianna's an RN in a local area hospital, and Tyler's in the Air Force station in Cannon Air Force Base in Mexico. Like I said, I'm a military veteran. I have 25 years of local area law enforcement. I've worked as a patrol officer, a detective. I worked narcotics. I supervised the narcotics task force for a number of years. 5 years ago, I promoted to lieutenant, and I've supervised patrol, canine, criminal investigation, SWAT, and I've had various leadership duties in law enforcement. I'm coming to the end of my law enforcement career, and I want to continue to serve the public and the citizens of Yavapai County. I have a strong desire to serve. My goal as a board of supervisor is I want to reduce property taxes. I want to support the sanctuary city or county proclamation. I'm a patriot. I'm a big supporter of law enforcement. I think what's going on in this country today is very scary, and we need good leadership in our country. I want to improve the efficiency of the county roads. There's a lot of work that could be done, and we'll work on that. I also want to improve the efficiency of the county operations, and I just want to serve the public again. Thank you.
All right. Next opening statement is Wiley Klein.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. My name's Wiley Klein. I'm a 4th generation native of Arizona, born and raised in our neighboring county of Gila, raised on ranches pretty much all my childhood, that and the small community of Young, very small community. I'm married. I have 3 kids, granddaughter, grandson on the way. I'm retired law enforcement. I'm also a heavy equipment operator. I've worked on road jobs, airports, whatever, through the years, especially after I retired. I currently work for Northern Arizona Pump because I had to quit my Arizona Department of Transportation job to continue running for this position. I have worked, well, basically, when I was 11, I was drilling wells with my papas, so I've worked in water wells and that business pretty much all my life off and on. I'm a card-carrying member of the NRA. I'm a member of the Arizona Water Well Association. I've been endorsed by Steve Stratton, who is the vice chairman of the Arizona Department of Transportation Board. Oh, let's see what else. I've lived in Yavapai County for 19 years. My wife has been here her whole life. Her grandfather actually built Casey's Corner. That's where she comes from. I'm very much pro-rural. I'm not for high-density developments unless there's a place for them and a need for them. And there is those places, but out in the rural areas is not the place. I'm opposed to the Verde Connect. I'm opposed to the new jail they're building or judicial complex.
All right, thank you.
There we go.
For your opening remarks. Next, on opening remarks, 2 minutes is Brandy Bateman.
Good evening, and thank you so much for putting this forum together. I'm Brandy Bateman, candidate for Yavapai County Board of Supervisors, District 2, lifelong Republican, raised right here in Yavapai County, and this is also the place where I raised my 3 beautiful children, and I enjoy time with my 7 children. I have a strong commitment to serving others and serving my community. Currently serve as the board president for the Beaver Creek School District, also a member of the Copper Canyon Fire and Medical Governing Board. I have served as a member of the Yavapai College Verde Campus Dean's Advisory Committee, currently the president for the Clarkdale Verde Kiwanis Group, which is committed to serving the youth of our community. a volunteer for training for Kids at Hope to teach that all children are capable of success with no exceptions, a member of the MAP Force Steering Committee striving to eliminate substance abuse and its effects. I believe that leaders should serve the people. I've been working in government leadership for the past 7 years, and specifically with the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors for more than the past 2 years. We have been building relationships at our state and federal legislative partners, and it's those relationships that give us the capacity to move forward meaningful legislation. I have extensive understanding of this job and its unique ability to serve the people. I also have experience as a small business owner. I owned and operated a very successful business here in the Verde Valley. I opened a restaurant just before the downturn of the economy in 2007. And despite economic hardships at the time, my business thrived. I understand the challenges that business owners face. District 2 has been well served for the past 16 years, and I desire to pick up that torch, providing service, resources, and answers to my communities. Doing the good work and the hard work is a priority for me, and partnership is the strength of that success. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Tony Ontiveros, 2-minute opening statement.
Hi, my name is Tony Ontiveros. Born and raised in Old Town Cottonwood. Been in Yavapai County 57 years, 4 years in Coconino in an area where there is no water. I'm a prominent businessman. I got into business by the time I was 35. I had to save 10 years to buy my first gas station, but I did. Saved over $110,000. I'm a prominent business person. I am good at thinking, logistical thinking. I don't think inside the box. I always think outside the box. My company is worth an incredible amount of money. I have a really good management staff, and now I have time to serve my community. And if you want to see what I'm all about, go to my website, tonyonaveras.com. I help a lot of people. I'm just hoping I can help more people at this level. And I think our district needs some help. Roads, taxes, affordable housing, and I'm thinking at this level I should be able to help more people. But that's who I am. I'm a full-blown Christian, God-fearing Christian. I get up every morning and pray before I do anything. I read my Bible 5 days a week, and I won't give that up for anybody or anything. But I'm willing to serve Yavapai County because I think I could do a good job. I've been a leader. I've been managing people since I was 19 years old. I have 38 years of retail experience. My company's worth millions of dollars, and I owe less than $1 million. That's how we run. I watch everything. We live within our means, and I'll do the same for Yavapai County. Thank you. Thanks for Sanford for having me.
All right, thank you. And next with an opening statement, Jody Rooney.
Hi, having taken the oath to support and defend the U.S. Constitution, I support the principles of the Republican Party. I exercise conservative values, the right to keep and bear arms, economic opportunity, reducing our tax burden, educational freedom, religious freedom, and I'm pro-life. I'm Jody Rooney, and I'm running for Yavapai County Supervisor District 2. I'm a graduate of the competitive Flynn Brown Fellowship Program. That's a leadership program for experienced leaders. Personally, I take action for my passion for education, and I serve as the board president for one of our fabulous teacher scholarship boards. I have received the 2017-18 Women Transportation Seminar Woman of the Year Award, and I'm also a charter member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I worked my way up and served in leadership positions at the Arizona Department of Transportation. My career experience also included being the administrator for the Central Yavapai Metropolitan Planning Organization. Now that's a mouthful. We also know that as SIMPO, and that's in the Prescott urbanized area. So we do transportation planning. So I've also enjoyed a career with the Illinois Department of Transportation, and I have extensive experience in the public sector. It's taught me to work cooperatively across diverse stakeholders and achieve results. My detailed knowledge of transportation is something that matters, and it brings that experience to capture funding for critical projects, our roads and our trails that we need so that we can have a better quality of life here in Yavapai County. I am a leader that has demonstrated performance of working with others to get things done. It is about the relationships. Casey is my husband, and we have lived in Yavapai County since 2006. I am a former councilwoman for Prescott Valley, and I'm looking to be able to serve you as supervisor.
All right. Now we have a first question that will be asked to each of the candidates, beginning with Wiley Klein. Question number 1, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
To start with, raising taxes is never a first choice, ever. That's always the absolute last thing you do if you have to. And our current board has demonstrated the opposite by raising our property taxes by 18%. To demonstrate that, every one of us sitting here on this panel, I can see all of you here, we do it with our home budgets. If you don't have the money, you don't spend it. You don't borrow money to spend it. You take care of what you have to, and then you spend it, like go to the movies, buy something special, buy a new car, whatever. But you take care of your priorities first. Everybody does that every day. And that's something that's lacking with our current board. They seem to think that they can spend money we don't have, then come to us and fleece us for more money. And that's just wrong. That should never happen. And what they should do is set aside money for capital expenditures.
All right, thank you. Next is Brandy Bateman. How would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Thank you, Sanford. So raising property taxes would absolutely be a last resort. Yavapai County has proven to be historically fiscally conservative, and they have not raised property taxes in the past 3 out of 4 years. No employees were laid off during the pandemic, and the county employed strategies to keep staff safe physically, emotionally, and financially. A sales tax could be introduced by the Board of Supervisors, but ultimately it's approved by the voters. Sales taxes are borne by visitors as well as residents, and Yavapai County has a large number of visitors annually. A 1/4-cent sales tax could infuse millions of dollars into the county's budget and be mostly paid for by our visitors.
All right, thank you.
People here.
Next, Tony Ontiveros. How would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Yes, I have examples, but let's talk about the taxes first. I'm not a tax raiser. I think we should live within our means. An 18% increase on property tax. I just paid $12,000 worth of tax May 1 on 3 commercial properties in Cornville. That's atrocious. We'll never do that. We'll take care of that. And what would the example I have privately, I have a $542 bill each month. That's all I have. No private bills. And my stores are worth about 20 times more than what we owe. That's what I've got.
All right, thank you. Next is Jody Rooney. And once again, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Yes, I would take a look at our county health insurance, whether or not we can shop that out. Another way that we could do it is maybe piggyback some of our procurement contracts, because you can get economy of scale that way. Looking also on our big road projects, looking at our design bid build projects and our construction management risk called the CMARS. That's where we can get better negotiated contracts as well. So, and I have had experience in cutting our budgets. In the last recession, I was working at the regional level and worked with our partners here. We had to cut our budgets across the board, everything 10%. I had a $150 million program at the time, and we did it. We didn't have to lay off any employees, and we were able to defer projects to get this done. I have experience in that. And I'd also go after the state, because what happens is they send down these unfunded mandates on us. And that's where, as my experience as a watchdog as well, I always go after the money. Any good administrator goes after the money.
All right, thank you. And last with the question number 1 is James Gregory. And the question again is, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
The last resort is to raise taxes, and I would not raise taxes. I would look at other ways to look at spending and where we're spending on projects and different things like that. I would also, I have experience back in 08 with the police department. We had to, we've seen a significant decrease in revenues, so we had to cut down on personnel. We froze hiring. We naturally lost people through attrition. And we also have this recent pandemic with COVID, and we cut down on our regular expenditures that we can, only spent on our needs, on a very slim budget. And also we froze hiring. So there's tough needs. If everybody's hurting, the government should be hurting too. So I would not raise property taxes.
All right, thank you. Now we have a second question that will be asked to all 5 of our candidates. And that question has to do with the fact that all Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents? And we're going to pose that question first to Brandy Bateman.
Thank you again, Sanford. So water rights is unique in that the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors isn't allowed to consider that as part of their decision making when it comes to development. However, we do have the opportunity to work with our legislatures down at the state level to try and create policies that give us a voice in water. One of the things that I've been doing for the past 2.5 years is building those relationships with our legislatures and working with them on a variety of things so that we can try to move legislation forward that gives us a voice. And as far as development of our communities, I would say implementing those community plans that give our communities a platform and a voice to say, this is what we would vision for our community. Those are paramount. And we are also currently working on developing those with our development services and our local communities to make sure that they have a voice in what they vision for their communities.
All right. Same question now to Tony Ontiveros. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Everything I possibly can. I'll tell you what, that water right question is coming up everywhere. And we're not producing any more water. We're just exploding as a population in Yavapai County. So water advocacy groups, water conservation groups, anything we possibly can. And we've got to make sure these developments are controlled. They're not wildcat developments where everyone's sinking a freaking well, you know what I'm saying? And I'll do everything I can. I'm not pro-development. I'm not anti-development. I'm controlled development. We want to see what we want to see, and we need to sit down with these people and come to agreements with them. But as far as water, they're not making it anymore. We've got to be really conservative with it. I lived in a waterless area, Parks, Arizona. I know water conservation. I know water rights. I know aquifers, Y aquifers. I know a lot about water. And that's one thing we need to look into. Thank you.
All right. Next for Jody Rooney. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Certainly water conservation is something that we all can do. And, you know, I believe in property rights. Anyone who has property out in the county, they have a right to put a well in there. But sometimes it's a matter of helping to educate what you can do, you know, as far as the flow. And so I think that we can do a lot there to help them with that and help their neighbors as well. But that is their water under their land. We want to protect and give no harm to the Verde. And so we have an actual agreement among SRP and Prescott Valley and Prescott, and I'll help to watchdog that too. Working with our developers, like in our master planned communities, we could work to help, you know, with the understanding and education of maybe low impact designs to help with that. At the end of the day, I'm about balance. And I think that Yavapai County has a lot to offer, and we love living here.
All right, and next we have James Gregory. The same question, all Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Well, I'm all for keeping the area rural and keeping us where we keep, we only have so much water, and we got to be careful with that, what our water resources. I think we need to get a seat at the AMA and work with Prescott and Prescott Valley and Dewey Humboldt in our areas to make sure that we conserve on water. I'm not for major high density housing, especially in unincorporated areas of the county. I think we need to get out there and we need to educate our community on how to conserve water and make sure that we implement some of those things to do that. I'm also against any major effects on the Verde River on the upper basin, upper Chino of pumping any water. I think property rights should be the landowners, and they should be able to have their own wells and be able to take their own water.
All right, and Wiley Klein, all Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Thank you. Yes, everybody does. And I am actually the only one sitting here tonight that has drilled wells that still to this day takes a well rig to wells that have dried up because of overdevelopment. The thing we can do is we have to watch where our high density developments are. We need to keep our rural areas just as they are rural. We need to follow our community plans, not the county master plan. The county has absolutely no business going in and telling a community what they can and can't do, or that they planned it wrong. And there's several communities that have their master plans in place that we should absolutely abide by and take into consideration. I've been in meetings where a sitting supervisor has told the community that their plan didn't matter. And that's just straight up wrong. We have to take care of our communities. We have to listen to who we work for. They don't work for us. I work for them.
All right, thank you. And now we have each candidate will have one question specifically for them. And so the first individual question will go to Tony Ontiveros. Do you support the Second Amendment Sanctuary County Resolution? Please explain.
And again,
What's that?
could you repeat the question again?
Do you support the Second Amendment Sanctuary County Resolution? Please explain.
I'm not sure what that question means, to be honest with you. Are we talking gun rights?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone should bear a right to have a gun. If you don't have a gun now, you're crazy. I've got one in every vehicle I have, I think. It's crazy out there. Of course man.
Glad you're my neighbor, Tony.
I'm telling you, it's crazy out there. Of course I accept that, or whatever you want to say. I support that, is what I'm trying to say.
All right, our next individual question is for Jody Rooney. What steps would you take when voting on removing tax bills from the tax rolls to assure that all laws have been followed?
I think on that, we need to take a look at working with the assessor's office, possibly the treasurer's office as well. So on removing tax bills, we have to also take a look at the history along with that. And you're saying from the tax rolls, correct, Sanford?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then oftentimes we have vacated properties and we put those up for auction as well. So until those come out and are sold, we're carrying those. So we really, we want to get those back on the rolls to get more taxes in. But I think it's about the research of it, making sure that we have due diligence, bringing legal into it, uncovering the stone, because we want to make sure that if we're taking something off of the tax rolls, that we've done due diligence in our research.
All right, next question is for James Gregory. Anarchy in major municipalities across the U.S. have been on display this past month. As a member of the Board of Supervisors, how would you rein in or gain control of this lawlessness?
Well, you know what? I'm all for peaceful protest. But when people start going and starting infringing on other people's rights and causing fires and hurting other people, they cross those lines and they become criminals. And I think it's important for our regular leadership in this country to step up and say what's right. We can't sit back and allow a lot of things happen like it's happening in Minnesota, Seattle, and different things like that. If you don't think it's coming here, it eventually will. And we need to keep our country safe, and we need to stand up for people that are causing these problems.
All right, thank you. Our next individual question is for Wiley Klein. What is your position on mail-in ballots and electronic voting?
That's a tough one. I'm glad you saved the worst one for me. I think that mail-in ballots and electronic voting is wrong. I do it myself because I travel so much when I'm working. But it gives so many people the opportunity to be crooked and cheat like they do. We all know they do. And I think we need to remove that. If you can actually physically go and vote, you should. And that takes away any doubt on who voted and why. And they're trying to get away from that. And I feel because either side, I don't care, they probably cheat. But if you do it in person, there is absolutely no doubt. And if you can go to the Home Depot and buy your sod and seeds and everything else with the other 500 people, you can go vote personally. There's no reason not to this year. And I know everybody's pushing for mail-in ballot. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And for Brandy Bateman, what would you do to adapt our infrastructure to a growing, larger population?
That's a great question, Sanford. Thank you so much. So Yavapai County is growing, and Arizona is one of the fastest growing states in the union, and we need to prepare for it. And so it's not about looking at where we're at today, but it's looking to the future, and it's saying, is the infrastructure we have going to meet our needs 10 years, 20 years from now? And so it goes back to those community plans where we engage with communities and say, what's your vision for your future? We have a very limited amount of private property that's left in Yavapai County, about 13-14% that's developable land. And so we need to look at that, work collaboratively with our communities, partner with them, and say, what's your vision? And then what will the needs be? Again, not today, not tomorrow, but long-term in the future.
All right, thank you. And now each of our candidates will have 1 minute to make a closing statement, and we'll start with Jody Rooney.
You can find more information on me at electjodyrooney.com. I'm all about sound financing and administration of county government, and that's part of where my strength area lives, because I've worked with large budgets. I know how to cut them. I know how to add them. When you have more federal money that comes down the pike, you have to move quickly. I'm for public safety. I especially support the Yavapai Justice and Mental Health Coalition. And emergency management. We saw that with the Goodwin fire, where the Emergency Operations Center jumped in, and we have to be very conscious of that. I live in a Firewise community in Stone Ridge, and I'm very grateful, and I want to be able to continue to promote that. Clearly, regional roads, transportation, and collaboration with other local officials here so we can get things done. I've lived in the rural communities half my life, and I would hope that you would consider voting me in as your next supervisor. Thank you.
Next closing statement for 1 minute, James Gregory.
My name is James Gregory, and I'm running for District 2 Supervisor. I will have a servant leadership style, represent all citizens of Yavapai County. I will be boots on the ground and a proactive supervisor. I will be responsive to citizens' needs. I will improve the efficiency of the county operations. I will improve the roads in the county. I will also represent the best interests of the county citizens. I will be a good steward of public funds, and I will support public safety and make sure that we don't even talk about defunding or anything with our law enforcement. I will support our first responders. Not afraid of conflict, and I will be a strong supervisor leading this county. I would appreciate your vote on August 4th. Thank you.
Next 1 minute closing statement for Wiley Klein.
Hi, I'm Wiley Klein, running for District 2, of course. The problem that we have is the overspending by our current Board of Supervisors. They have wasted money on the new judicial system that isn't needed. They probably could have remodeled the Gurley Street Jail at a lower cost, saved the taxpayers money and not bonded it. We have the Verde Connect, which they're gonna bond probably about $50 to $75 million that we don't have. They keep thinking they have all this money. I've heard everything tonight. There is no money for infrastructure. There is no money for our roads and our systems per ADOT. I know because I've talked to the vice chairman of the Arizona Department of Transportation Board. I know what their plan is. We are not getting anything. We might get the flex lane out of Black Canyon City, that's it. Bottom line is they can't keep spending money that we don't have. It's got to stop, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
All right, and next for 1 minute closing statement, Brandy Bateman.
Thank you again, Sanford. I'm Brandy Bateman, candidate for Yavapai County Board of Supervisors. I have a strong commitment to serving others and to serving my community. I believe that leaders should serve the people. I've been working in government leadership for 7 years, and specifically with this Board of Supervisors. And I have been building those relationships with our state and federal partners, capable of moving us forward with legislation that will be beneficial to our communities. I have an extensive understanding of this job and its unique ability to serve the people. Doing the good work and the hard work is a priority for me, and partnership is the strength of that success. Thank you all so much for being here.
And last for a closing statement, Tony Ontiveros.
Thanks, Stanford. You saved the best for last, buddy. I just want to let you guys know that I'll do everything I can, as much as I can, to do everything I can for roads, assisted living, and taxes. Taxes will not go up on my watch. They'll go down. We'll live within our means. I have 38 years of business experience. I have extensive construction background. I know codes, I know plans, I know variances, I know all that. And I think I can bring it to you to help Yavapai County. The connector, wrong place. We don't need a connector in the Verde Valley. We need a loop like the 101, 202, or 303. We need to plan 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. We just had a road done, Ogden Ranch Road. Should have been 2-lane both ways. We're gonna do it again in 5 years. We need plans, people to implement plans. I'm your man. Thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you to all of our Board of Supervisors District 2 candidates. We're now going to conduct a 1 minute straw poll. And so for those of you in the audience that are District 2 voters, please go ahead and pick who you would most likely vote for Board of Supervisors District 2 based upon today's Q&A. You have 1 minute. All right, that concludes our straw poll for Board of Supervisors District 2. We'll now go ahead and mute the videos of District 2 and get Districts 3 and 4 on screen.
I don't know how I look, but this is the way I look.
She doesn't look as bad there when it's just her face. She's fat and she doesn't, you can't see it personal.
All right, looks like our District 3 and 4 supervisor candidates are in place. Let me go ahead and mention that once again, we did go ahead and draw names at random. And so we're going to start out with a 2-minute opening statement. And the first opening statement will go to Randy Garrison.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, YavGOP and Donna and Sanford. I appreciate you guys putting this on for us tonight so we can share what our beliefs are and what we plan to do with the broader community of Yavapai. My name is Randy Garrison. I am an Arizona native. I am a 5th generation Verde Valley resident. I live in Cottonwood with Debbie, my wife of 35 years, and our daughter Shelby. We own and manage 3 small businesses, and our office is in Old Town. My family came to Yavapai County as farmers and cattle ranchers. In fact, my county office in Cottonwood sits on the very land my grandfather and father used to farm before I was born. I've been in public service for most of my life, and I've been an elected official for over 19 years. I started out serving on Mingus Union High School Board, then moved to Cottonwood Oak Creek School District Board, serving as the chair for 5 years there. From there, I joined the City of Cottonwood Council, and I left that position to serve on the Board of Supervisors. 2 years ago, I served as vice chair under Rollie Simmons. Last year, I was chair, and this year I serve as vice chair once again under Chairman Craig Brown, and I'm working to once again serve as chair next year. I serve as a council member on the Northern Arizona Council of Governments and have for almost a decade. Along with Supervisor Thurman, I serve as our county representative for the County Supervisor Association and represent Yavapai County as our legislative liaison, the chair, and I'm the chair of the Medium County Caucus as well. I was appointed by Governor Ducey and currently serve on the Arizona at Work Workforce Council. I serve as a governor board member for the Northern Arizona Healthcare, and I also sit on the site council for Verde Valley Medical Center. Along with Mayor Tim Malinsky, we co-chair the Verde Front, a group of regional leaders who work to preserve the Verde River as well as promote sustainable water use throughout the Verde Valley and Yavapai County. We also manage Verde Valley Transportation Planning Organization, a regional group comprised of ADOT and NACOG representatives.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Randy. Next 2-minute opening statement, Craig Brown.
I'm next.
Good evening, and thank you very much, YavGOP, for providing this forum, and Jerry and Sanford, thank you for all the help that you've provided us with the technical sides of this. Most of you know me. I'm Craig Brown, the Yavapai County Supervisor for District 4, and currently the Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, of which I've been Chairman 3 times in the past 7.5 years. And I've been your supervisor for that long period of time, and during that time we provided our citizens with a conservative financial vision and delivered 8 years of balanced budgets and low taxes. We have repaired the county's infrastructure, facilities, and roads, stabilized our fleet operation, and expanded service to youth throughout the county. I've worked with POWIC and the county's numerous fire agencies in creating fire-wise communities in our rural and urban neighborhoods. I've sponsored free slash disposal and free dump days so the community can take advantage of these services for that prevention effort. We have obtained Title III federal grants for large-scale mitigation projects and efforts made with those funds available through our local counties and fire agencies. We had numerous fire-wise communities through our programs such as Pinion Oaks, Long Meadow Ranch, Crossroads Ranch, and the town of Jerome. The Emergency Operations Center now has plans in place for large animal rescue and facilities to take care of our equine friends. I've helped to develop several trail systems within District 4, such as the Scarlet and Mimosa Ranch Trail and working on several others. There are many challenges facing Yavapai County currently and possibly into the future. I believe my proven leadership and experience will continue to provide for a balanced approach to the COVID-19 pandemic while still providing for a stable financial outcome despite drastically reduced resources. I believe my 50 years of experience in government leadership has served you well, and I hope you will give me your vote and continue to do so. Thank you.
And for a 2-minute opening statement, Jane Anderson.
Hi, I'm Jane Anderson, running for District 4 Board of Supervisors. I've been a longtime resident of Yavapai County. I've lived in Yavapai County for 26 years. I raised my children here, helped raise several other children in the community. I'm community-minded, I'm conservative, I stand for constitutional rights. I feel that you need a servant leader, someone who listens to the people of Yavapai County and not just their interests. We currently do not have supervisors in the supervisory role to listen to the voters. They voted out the jail tax in several times, but we continue to go against the voters and go for the jail. Yes, there is maybe a need for the jail down the road, but now is not the time for the jail because of the COVID-19 tax decrease. We have to look at what we absolutely need, not what we would like, a Taj Mahal jail. We need better infrastructure in Yavapai County and rural Arizona, not just where the supervisors live or in the rich sections of your Yavapai County, but all the citizens of Yavapai County need safe roads. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And so now we'll have question number 1, which will be addressed to all 3 candidates. And first question is to Craig Brown. How would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Well, this is not, this is a common sense type of situation. First of all, building any kind of a budget, you have to start with what are your needs and the things that you're going to have for the coming year. And you're going to have to find out what that is for and what those things are going to cost you. So you have each of your departments and or elected officials for their departments also put together their requests and the things they think they are going to need. Then you're going to look at how much of your revenue is going to be coming in and try and compare the two and see if you're going to have enough money coming in. Now, there's only 2 ways for the county to raise money. One is through raise property taxes or through property taxes, and the other is through a sales tax. Those are the only ways you can do that. So you have to consider what revenues you have coming in from the state, also what are dedicated to certain things specifically, like HERF funds have to go for roads. 1/4 cent money from our taxes is based on roads also.
All right, thank you, Craig. And next, same question, Jane Anderson. How would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Well, the first thing you do is taxes are the last things you raise. First, you look to see where you can cut and prioritize what we need. And yes, I've been a small business owner for 30 years with my husband here in rural Arizona for the last 25 years. And raising a family with 5 children, you learn to prioritize and cut what you need and spend only what you have to when times are touched. Thank you.
All right, and finally, same question for Randy Garrison. How would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Yeah, so I pretty much, it's going to be hard to top what Chairman Brown actually has already stated. This county is in amazing fiscal shape. We've been reducing taxes 3 out of the last 4 years. We entered this pandemic in a very stable financial position. We didn't cut a single job. We didn't furlough a single person. We didn't stop a single service that we're doing. And we were able to do that because we've been very good financial managers of this system. When you look at our board budget, and the budget for this county, that book sits about 4.5 inches thick, and you know every line of that code. You know where every dollar is coming from, and you know where every dollar is going. We've done a great job. We have kept things in line with the expectation of what we deliver to our citizens, and also we've taken care of our employees. So we've done a great job. I continue to hear everybody talking about we need to.
Thank you. That's 1 minute.
Thanks.
All right, and so now we have the second question, and we're going to start with Jane Anderson. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Well, I live in Paulden, Arizona, which sits on the Big Birdie, the Big Chino Aquifer. So I have extensive knowledge. I've watched the water issues over the years. And yes, the county government really doesn't have a say about county water laws, but they all need to go to our legislatures and revise the water laws that are outdated and protect the Verde River and its flow through the Big Chino. I was instrumental in a video called the Verde River Rolls On, where we filmed from the Seligman all the way down through Cottonwood and showed the Verde River and its flow. And we got to listen to CWAG and what they have with their professional hydrologists and stuff, that they've done a water module. We should listen to them. And yes, we need to protect our water. Thank you.
All right, and same question now to Randy Garrison. As all Arizonans deal with water and land use issues, what do you plan to do to protect the water rights and overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
So, you know, we're Arizona. We've started and ended wars over water. And my family has been in water for well over 100 years. I've drilled wells, I've owned wells, I've served a significant portion of the Verde Valley with water. I understand the need to protect that resource. But one of the problems we have is Yavapai County Board of Supervisors, we don't have the rules in place that allow us a voice in what happens. So we have to be very focused on going down, working with our legislature. As I said, I was the Medium County Caucus chair. We brought in legislators, we brought in water advisory committees, we brought in ADWR, we brought in ADQ. We've talked about what we can do to continue to provide water for our residents and protect that resource so that as we grow, which we will, we can continue to have the ability to serve.
All right, and same question to Craig Brown. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights from overdevelopment for our community for Yavapai County residents?
Unfortunately, that's a misconception most people have, is that the Board of Supervisors has something to say about water resources. We really do not, unless it falls within the AMA and the county at the same time, and that's a very small area located just basically south of Chino Valley. And we won't have much to say about that because it's mostly state land anyway. So well, that's really not to be discussed. ADWR has most of the say. The Big Chino pretty much is run by SRP. And I don't believe that we'll in our lifetime ever see water come out of the Big Chino. And the reason being is that it's going to cost too much to pipe it in. And even that would make Prescott and Prescott Valley also not able to pull on that resource because of the cost and Proposition 400.
All right, and now we have the individual questions for each of our candidates, starting with Randy Garrison. With the rapid growth in Yavapai County, how would you control residential and commercial development?
You know, it's really difficult. Our county, as what was stated earlier tonight, we're 87% public land. That leaves us 13% to develop and grow in. And we're a growing county. We live just north of one of the fastest growing cities in the entire United States. So we have to be very, very careful with what we do with the remaining land we have. We have to be careful about minding and sticking to the values of the communities where that growth is. We don't manage the cities, we manage the rural areas, and those areas typically have community development plans, and we need to stick to those plans and develop that land accordingly. It doesn't mean we can't develop it at all. We have to develop it, but we have to do it in a very smart and regimented and mindful manner.
All right. I just want to remind the candidates, when you're not speaking, if you wouldn't mind muting your microphones. I appreciate that. Okay, individual question, Craig Brown. Given the First Step Act on criminal reform from President Trump and the county's own criminal offender diversion program trying to ease jail populations, what is your position on Yavapai County building a new $70 million jail?
Well, first of all, let's get this straight. The jail is going to cost $65 million. And why do I say that? Because I just signed the bond request for that, and I know exactly how much it's going to cost. And that contract has already been put in place. As far as 70 million or what's going on with the federal government, it doesn't affect us in any way, shape, or form. They're talking about federal prisons. We have a county jail. That's it. County jails are a lot different than prisons. And I've worked in the prison system and the jail system almost all my life as a police officer, probation officer, and an administrator for the probation department. And so let's get some of our facts right. Some of the numbers that have come out tonight have been very wrong. $65 million, no more. Tom Thurman and I made sure of that. We would not allow anything more than that to be spent, even though that's 20 million more than what we originally had planned.
And for Jane Anderson, do you think it's necessary to meter water wells on unincorporated property in the county? Explain.
No, I don't think it's necessary to meter wells because the size of pipe that comes out of the ground regulates how much water can be drawn anyway. And it's a personal property right to have your own well if you can and take as much water as you can. It's a personal property right. To come in and meter wells would cause an uproar and a violation of people's constitutional and personal property rights. Thank you.
All right, we now will have 1 minute closing remarks, and we'll start with Craig Brown.
First of all, property rights are great, and I think that everybody that, has their property has a right to drill their well, and that's, secured through state law and also through ADWR. Now, when they get that well, being responsible is entirely up to them, and that was like just when it comes to masks being worn in the county during this pandemic. It's up to personal people to actually, do what's right, not what's, just they can do. So with water, that issue is going to be something we're talking about long into the future. I don't see any answers because it has to be addressed at the state level. I've given several seminars to CWAG in regards to the water issues, and they're focused primarily on the big Chino and the little Chino aquifers, when in fact the big Chino is fed by also Mint Creek and the Long Meadow Ranch areas and up in some of the other areas of that drainage.
All right, closing remarks, Randy Garrison.
Great, thank you very much, Sanford, and I really appreciate you guys putting on this forum. It's been really interesting listening to some of their answers to the questions tonight and understanding just maybe the misunderstanding that most people have about exactly what this job is. This job is all about partnership, and it also requires a high level of experience. I've always worked very hard to serve my communities, and I give every commitment my complete attention and effort. I plan on continuing this service regardless of where these opportunities take me. We've had a great run. I've enjoyed my service in this position as evidenced by the history of my time here. I've worked very well with the other board members. You can't do anything by yourself. It takes 2 other votes and hopefully 4 other votes to get things done. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to bridge those gaps and reach out and be a partner and continue to move our communities forward in a very profitable and mindful and manageable manner. Thank you.
And Jane Anderson, 1 minute for closing remarks.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. If I am elected County Board of Supervisors, I plan to work with all the rest of the supervisors in the state legislature to provide hope for this county. The children of this county leave by droves. We need to keep our children because they know the history of the county and they want to live the rural lifestyle that there is. We need to provide hope and a future for our county and preserve the water rights, the property rights, our constitutional rights. And you got to start at the local level and the county level to do this. Thank you.
All right, and we're going to do a straw poll now of just the Board of Supervisors District 4, since Randy was the only representative. So if you are a resident of District 4, please go ahead and vote for which candidate you would likely vote for based upon today's Q&A, and you have 1 minute. All right, that's all the time allotted for the straw poll. We'll go ahead and ask our Board of Supervisors 4 candidates to mute their audio and video, and ask for our Board of Supervisors District 5 candidates to come on board. All right, we have all of our District 5 candidates present, and so we'll go ahead and get this final segment started. We're going to start with a 2-minute opening statement, and again, we drew names at random, and so the first opening statement goes to Steve Irwin.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Irwin. I'm your District 5 elected District Government Board member, essentially your college trustee. I'm running for District 5 Board of Supervisors. Recently, I think that we've seen an example of excellence in government, in governing and setting policies for a large county institution. Of course, I'm talking about YavGOP College. Through my time at YavGOP College, we've created sound fiscal policies, procedures in place to account for tragedy and economic upheaval. So what just happened at the college? We just approved our college budget. We are $3 million less than last year's college budget. We gave every employee at least a 3% pay raise. We have approved free college tuition for high school graduates if they complete their degree in 2 years. Also, high school dropouts in YavGOP County. We went ahead and we paid down our GEO bond, another $4 million debt that actually lowered your property taxes. When When we came here from Yavapai, when we relocated in Yavapai County, I retired from the Army. I worked my time in juvenile probation. I worked in detention, and I worked for the state helping seniors get the Medicaid that they so neatly needed. The reason I joined the college board is because I believe in economic development. I believe in education. I believe in affordable housing. All those things the college has a play in. All those things are my priority that I'd like to be able to, if I get elected as your District 5 Board of Supervisor, to bring to the table. Thank you.
And next for opening statement, 2 minutes, Mary Mallory. You have to unmute. Left-hand corner of your screen, unmute. There you go.
Okay, got it. All right. Thank you very much for having us here tonight. And my name is Mary Mallory. I am the current county supervisor for District 5. Prior to going into this job, I was the councilwoman for the town of Prescott Valley for almost 9 years. I have served this community for almost 20 years, and I have worked with this community for almost 20 years, doing many things, including the healing field as a councilwoman, and also when I worked at Albertsons, we did cookies for the troops. I believe the community knows me well, and I know them. And what do I bring to the job as a county supervisor? I bring experience, transparency, knowledge, good leadership, very accessible, and a love for the county that I live in. Thank you.
And 2-minute opening statement, Brian Silvernail.
Good evening, everyone. As Sanford said, my name is Brian Silvernail. First, I'd like to thank YavGOP and Sanford yourself for hosting this event. I am a 39-year resident of Yavapai County. I am married for the last 20 years to my wonderful wife. I have 3 children. I was raised here in Yavapai. I'm a product of Yavapai County education, whether it's elementary school, junior high, high school, and into college. I'm a lieutenant with the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. I've been there for the last 20 years, been in multiple different roles at the Sheriff's Office. And I've served in multiple different committees and boards for the, sorry, I just got a message on my screen that says unmute. I'm assuming you guys hear me since you didn't stop me. Anyway, I've been involved in family business and local business since I've been here. My family came here in 1968, where we've owned and operated multiple businesses. I am a member of Heights Church. My wife and I have been involved in youth ministries and currently serve as young adult leaders in our church home. I sit on the Prescott Area Shelter Services Board. I am a last year's recipient of the Crisis Officer of Distinction Award from David's Hope. I'm a lifelong Republican, and I'm a member of the Yavapai Mental Health and Justice Coalition. Also served previously on the Corrections Officer Retirement Local Board, and I have, above all, a servant's heart. And I think that's it for my time.
Brian, you do sound a little quiet volume-wise. I don't know if you have a microphone there in your computer you can get closer to, or if you have a volume adjustment you can make. But we're getting stuff on the chat that your volume level is very low.
Is that any better? If I hold it, the mic closer to my...
No, it really isn't.
We tested this before, and I thought that it worked out. I changed mics.
That's better.
Okay.
All right, here we go. We have a first question, and Mary Mallory, you get the first one, which is, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, when it comes to the operating budget, I work with the directors and look and see as they present us their needs in their departments. But along with that, what we do is we just went through this on the COVID-19 and the fact that we put a hiring freeze on, we took a time when we are not going to be doing cost of living raises. We work within the budget that we have in order to make sure that we do not have any need to raise any more property taxes. When it comes to Prescott Valley, I also worked through the recession in that time. And we did a lot of things that were very valuable without raising taxes as well. So I have the experience in both with municipalities. Thank you.
All right, and next question, the same question rather, goes to Brian Silvernail. Brian, how would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Well, when you talk about raising taxes and cutting spending, I'm assuming that we're operating on the assumption that we're expecting a shortfall in the budget. So first, I would address that shortfall by cutting spending. If elected, I intend on going through a system.
I'm really having trouble hearing you at all. That's actually worse.
Okay, well.
That's better.
That's better. Right there?
Okay.
Does that work better?
It's a little better. There was a moment there where it came up full. And
how about now?
Okay.
Okay, I'll try that.
Oh, now it went away.
I have no idea what's going on here. I tested this before, so. Can you hear me now?
Are you, if you're looking at a laptop, you might want to try unplugging your earphones and just go with the microphone that's built in. That's what I ended up having to do.
And that's fine. So I anticipate on doing. Do you hear me now?
Okay, so we got a text from Linda Buchanan saying your original mic was the best.
That I was using the original mic just before. Do you hear me now?
It still seems kind of low and garbled to me. I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's see. How about now? Anything now?
Jerry, you want to step in, Jerry, see if you can help?
Yeah, no, I don't know what else to do with his computer. It's the very first configuration he had where he must have changed mics on his computer.
I haven't changed mics at all.
Yeah, I don't know. It just went to that really kind of garbly tin sound that you had. It was probably better when it was a little bit weaker. It was very clean, but at least we could hear you somewhat.
Okay, I haven't changed mics at all. I'm using the same headset that we're using when we tested. Can you hear me now?
No, there's still some sort of back echo going on with your system there. I don't know.
Okay, how about now?
That's pretty good.
Okay, we'll try that.
Okay.
Still there?
Yes, good.
Okay, here we go. So assuming, because you brought up cutting spending or raising taxes, I'm operating off the assumption that we're expecting a shortfall in the budget. And in the event that there's a shortfall in the budget, then the first thing to do is cut spending. So that's how I would first do that, and how I would intend on doing it if elected is going in there and finding out what we can privatize. Why not cut spending before we expect that shortfall? I would also intend on implementing technology and other efficiencies to be able to cut those expenditures. The other part of that is implementing user-based payer systems and expanding those user-based payer systems and taking the burden off of taxpayers altogether. An example would be my role at the sheriff's office, where I was expected to decrease population but increase income from the inmates that are served by our services. And I'm out of time, sorry.
All right, but at least we saw an improvement in the audio, so that's good. Let's see. So the first question, again, this to Steve Irwin. How would you go about creating an operating budget for the county? Would you first look to raise taxes, cut spending? Do you have any examples in your personal or professional life where you've done this?
Yeah, so the same way we did it when I worked in the Army, Department of Defense, defense contractors, state of Arizona, Yavapai County, and of course at the college. My personal process is to go, I start out with zero-based accounting. I look at what the essential bills are, what our guaranteed income is, and start making priorities. My office in Prescott, I have a office in Cottonwood and an office in Sedona. We do them all the same way. Every year we know what our income is, what our budget is, and we plan appropriately. We prioritize on the needs of the company and the employees that work with it. That's it.
All right. And so now question number 2, and we're going to start with Brian Silvernail. Question number 2, all Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights from overdevelopment for our community for Yavapai County residents?
Okay, so as you've heard already, county doesn't play a direct role in the water. However, they definitely play a role in the depletion of that water. Conservation is key. You're talking to a guy that lives off with his family of 5, a 13-foot hand-dug well. And we're able to do that throughout the year. So conservation is key. The other thing that I would do is I would stop the cities from annexing county lands and watering up these properties, these county properties. That is encouraging mass growth and mass development. That plays right into the water, the land use issues, and the overcrowdedness that we're experiencing here in Yavapai County. If we put an end to city being able to water up these county properties, then we can discourage that mass growth. And while growth is important, sustainable growth is more important.
You. Same question now to Mary Mallory. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights from overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Well, as you know, the county is very limited when it comes to dealing with the water. But you know what the county does do is they partner very much with all the other municipalities. We actually partner with the Upper Verde River Watershed Protection. We actually give them about $40,000 a year. You know what, we work together with our municipalities, and also when it comes to the land, you know, we do have our planning and zoning commissioners. They represent each district, and you know, they work with the public. There is a due process through all of this land and the management of it. So I say you follow the process that's been created for the county. Thank you.
All right, and second question to Steve Irwin. All Arizonans deal with water and land use issues. What do you plan to do to protect the water rights from overdevelopment of our community for Yavapai County residents?
Well, you know, water issues is growth issues. They go hand in hand. In order to get a subdivision approved, it has to be approved to the county first before it's approved to the real estate commissioner. Our Water Advisory Council are 6 members appointed by the governor. There's 1 vacancy. Our very own town manager right here in Prescott Valley, Larry Tuskowski, is on that council. They have direct input into the water banking authority. I think that's one use. I think the other way is when we look at how many building permits, the cost of those permits, can definitely have an effect on how fast we develop. The further we keep developing, the more strain we're putting on our community, our police department, our fire department, our paramedics, our road maintenance. The only way we can cover the cost of that is through taxes. So I think it's something that we need to take a real serious look at before we allow this uncontrolled growth that we're seeing now.
All right, and now we have our closing remarks, and each one of you will have 1 minute. Oh, I'm sorry, we have individual questions first. You can tell it's getting late. Individual questions first, and Mary Mallory gets the first individual question. Mary, how would you proceed with revenue shortfalls?
Well, what I have already done with revenue shortfalls is we have worked through on a hiring freeze. We have also restricted some of our purchase on fleets for cars. We have also gone ahead and put not doing a cost of living increase until we understand exactly where is the money, that shared revenue that we have with the state, where is it going to end up at, and what exactly is our bottom line. So that is how I would handle it. And until I hit that bottom line, right now, everything just is on hold.
All right, next individual question is for Brian Silvernail. Brian, protesters demanded the Phoenix City Council cut police funding by 25%. Instead, the council passed its annual budget of $3 million, which included funding for its first civilian review board. The question, would you have voted for a civilian review board? Explain.
No, I would not. It's very important to police ourselves as well. And in a lot of these situations where we have these review boards for use of force incidents and mismanagement of things, it's very important to have that standard, that reasonable officer standard that you're required to be held to. So it's very important for you to be judged by your peers and not necessarily a group that may disagree with the way you're called to conduct your service. Thank you.
And individual question for Steve Irwin. Is there any part of the U.S. or Arizona constitutions you would like to see changed?
That's a pretty broad question. I love the Constitution. I'm a constitutionalist, Republican, conservative. The big thing in the news now is equal rights and how we treat people. Just my time in the Army and my time in public sector and a business owner, I can tell you that there's no room for it. So I would say that we need to enhance our treatment of our fellow Americans. I'd like to see veterans become a protected class, only because I'm a veteran. I think that they're discriminated against, and it's not illegal to do that. But I would definitely like to see how we treat one another to be more humane, more civil.
All right. So we're now going to have our 1 minute closing remarks. And the first closing remarks go to Brian Silvernail, 1 minute.
Okay. I will stand and do everything in my power to decrease taxes and increase services. I will continue to support, love, and protect our community and our rights. I will govern based on my religious beliefs and convictions. I will hold ourselves accountable and serve the residents of this great county. If you'd like to know more about me, I encourage you to visit my website, which is www.electbriansilvernail.com. On there, you can find a questions website or an email address, as well as my phone number. I encourage you to reach out to me. I ask for your support and for your vote on August 5th. Thank you very much.
And next with 1 minute closing remarks, Steve Irwin.
Hi, and thanks for hosting this show. If you go to my site, steveirwinforsupervisor.com, or Facebook under the same name, you're going to find out that I do not support the jail at this time. It's the wrong time. It's the wrong location. More importantly, last year, would it be surprised for you to learn that we've only arrested 296 violent criminal offenders? And so my question is, why do we have 600 people in jail? And so I don't understand the need for that. I'm an empirical data guy. I like the science. If we're locking people up, I want to make sure we're locking up the right people. Maybe in the future I could support a new jail, but right now next to a residential area within walking distance to Walmart. And I talked to 2 general appraisers. We appraised that new jail. I can't come up with over $38 million to build it, and yet we're allocating $65 million. So I'm going to have to see the numbers before I get behind anything.
All right, and final closing remarks to Mary Mallory.
Thank you again. Well, you know, I have been serving the community now as a public figure for almost 10 years, and I absolutely love this community. I have a proven track record, and I am very accessible, and customer service is what I bring to this job. I can make tough decisions, but I treat people with respect, and that's something I believe everybody deserves. We are not always going to make everybody happy, and I understand that. But I do listen. I do the best job for the community and the county and the people as a whole. I love this community, and I would love to continue being the county supervisor for District 5. Please vote for me on August 4th, 2020.
And if we could have our YavGOP chair, Donna Tansey, back up on screen.
We do want to run the straw poll here too, real quick.
I'm sorry. I keep trying to skip the straw poll. Okay. We do have a straw poll for 1 minute. Please cast your vote for who you would likely vote for District 5 based upon today's Q&A. And we ask if you are a District 5 resident that you cast your vote for one of the candidates.
I'm ready for a martini.
Hi, Donna.
I said I'm ready for a martini.
We heard you. No.
So turn in your straw for a swizzle stick. All right, that'll conclude our straw poll for District 5. Donna, will hand it over to you.
Gosh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that participated in the forum. We would like to give a shout out to Jerry Hume, who helped Yavapai GOP tremendously with his technical prowess and expertise. Our gratitude for the time and the effort expended by our moderator, Sanford Cohen. You saw how hard he worked to keep us going. And thanks to KQNA News Talk Radio for co-sponsoring the event. So appreciated. Questions for the forum were the result of many of our Yavapai GOP precinct committeemen and precinct committee women who took the time to submit the questions. Hopefully tonight's event has been instrumental and helpful in formulating how will you vote. Please note, we will post on the Yavapai GOP website tonight forum for those that were unable to attend. Yavapai especially thanks all of our candidates for the courage and the commitment, and I mean commitment. You've seen how hard they work every night, every day, running for office. So thank you. Now, for a fun note, nothing is more fun and patriotic than the 4th of July parade. Come join us downtown Prescott Saturday, July 4th at 9:00 a.m. for the Prescott Frontier Rodeo Parade. You will see many Republican candidates throughout the parade, many, and the Yavapai GOP convertible convoy will lead the Republican Party. See you there. Good night. God bless.
Good night.